has stayed with you and carried you through into your life that's made it such an important part of your life to continue to support the arts?
I've got a really, first of all, I just want to say thank you to Aunty Raelene for sharing that, and for, yes, I know Ubuntu is absolutely everything that Indigenous people believe in, and I'm very passionate and have a lot of respect for you and for every other Indigenous person that I meet with. So thank you for acknowledging Ubuntu as well. So I have a very personal story, and that comes from my mother. I grew up in India, and Mum was a opera singer, and I was the only non-performing artist, not artist, I was the only non-performer in the family. But in India we have parties on the weekend and in our homes, and Mum was always asked to sing because she had this beautiful voice. And outside of her performing, if you saw my mother, and everybody knew her to be this very well put together person. She was quite stoic actually, and had a wall almost, and you couldn't get into her world. She was quite definitely not huggy feely type, but when she sang, something different came out of her, and it was a stark contrast. And I remember as a young girl sitting down with all our family and friends around her, and Mum would be sitting there, and one of the songs that she sang quite often was Love Story, which is why I absolutely love it myself. And her entire body would just kind of flop down. She would just be completely relaxed, and then her face would soften, and she would kind of look down to the right almost for a few seconds before she looked up, and then started producing this most beautiful sound that came out of her voice, and in those days when I was a young girl, I didn't quite have the language to put around what was happening, but it was almost as if she was reaching into the deepest part of herself to connect with her own feelings, to then emote through her song that she was singing, which was Love Story. And I remember feeling moved myself, and tears, and all the people in the room, and always felt quite something different and quite alive after Mum sang. And what I've come to realize many, many years later is how powerful the arts are, and has this amazing capacity to actually help us get in touch with the deepest part of ourselves, our humanity, which is our feelings. And that's such a gift, to be able to feel deeply. And being as part of the foundation and Ubuntu now, I've realized, and it really makes my heart race over here, because what I've realized is that the more we can feel our feelings deeply, the more we can feel the feelings of others. And when we can feel the feelings of others, then compassion arises. And when compassion arises, we will naturally want to do something to alleviate pain and suffering in the world. And that's why I've pivoted quite heavily into the arts, because I see that as a very baseline way of getting people in touch with themselves, to then want to feel compassion for others. So I hope I answered your question.
You did a magnificent job, Carolyn. And as I listen to both of you speak, it feels like a very important conversation for us to be having right now. And it's beautiful to hear your words, and particularly when you both speak about your mum and the impact that your mothers have had in your life.